Tell you about a storyline that is the greatest wrestling storyline, or one of the greatest wrestling storylines that you probably never even heard of. I'm referring to Ring of Honor versus CZW. It was Ring of Honor Wrestling versus Combat Zone Wrestling. What ROH versus Ring of Honor was really about at its heart, and the feud was pure wrestling versus ultraviolence, respect versus chaos, athletes competing versus outlaws, brutality. We are professional wrestling versus we are fighters willing to die. RH fans viewed CZW as garbage wrestling. CZW fans viewed RH as elite wrestling snobs. That's pretty true. Because both companies shared talent, operated in the Northeast indie scene around the same time, it felt really real. I'm telling you, this stuff felt real. It felt like it was right up there with the NWO in the 90s with WCW. People were actually believing it was the WWF invading WCW. This felt real. The background in the early 2000s ROH identity. ROH was technical wrestling, long matches, sports-based presentation, future stars, work rate. You had guys like Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, Nigel McGuinness, Homicide, and Low-Ki. ROH fans believed this was real wrestling. Let me tell you, this is not the ROH that Tony Khan owns. This was the ROH that was actually worth watching. What Tony Khan owns is a mere shell. Nothing compared. It's like comparing it would be like comparing the original ECW to what WWE presented on Fox, the Sci-Fi Channel. There was no comparison whatsoever. The ROH that is currently in existence today is a watered down piece of crap company that no one enjoys watching. So, the CZW identity, CZW, was ultraviolence, blood, glass, weapons, insanity, reckless risk taking. The promotion was absolutely about death matches. Let me also tell you, CZW death matches and the violence in CZW is a lot of what you currently see in AEW. Some of it comes from this concept of what was happening in CZW years ago in 2006. But what you get is the bad part of what happened from 2006 is that we get things that are currently going on in Ring of Honor. Not a good thing that happened to wrestling, but it is one of the byproducts of it. The deathmatch style, ECW style chaos turned up to 11 basically. Wrestlers trying to survive more than wrestle. Names include Nick Gate, Chris Hero, Chris Castagnoli, and Nitro Butcher. Now obviously you know who Castagnoli is because he went to AEW. But Nitro Butcher was alpha chain violent. I mean, he would hit you with a weed whacker, cut you open with a weed whacker. This was just hit you with light tubes, drag glass through your back, and I mean drag it and gash you open. You would see the flesh just flaking off. It was just really, really violent. How the feud started, the big spark was when CZW wrestlers began invading ROH. At the first, it was sabotage, disrespect, promos. Your company is weak. Our guys are tougher. But the feud exploded because the promotion had completely opposite philosophies. ROH locker room guys actually liked CZW was killing wrestling. CZW guys acted like ROH wrestlers were soft, fake, athletic, pretending to fight. Fans bought into it hard. The key fighter, Chris Hero, a huge piece people forget is how important Chris Hero was. Chris Hero had credibility in both words. He could wrestle technical masterpieces, brawl, cut believable promos. He believed the initial voice of CZW against RH. A fan thinks he carried the emotional depth of the feud. Claudio Castagnoli RH role. Before RH fans knew his Claudio Castagnoli, one of the original villains of professional wrestling. RH crowds hate him during his promos. I mean, they hated Chris Hero. He was so legitimate. Anyways, the CZW factor felt smug, arrogant, and invasive, like they were trying to infect RH from the inside out. The violence felt dangerous. What separates this feud from normal wrestling angles was realism. The matches, they felt stiff, looked painful, had huge crowds hatred, often spill into the chaos. Fights often spill into the crowds and created chaos. Fans legitimately debated online which promotion was superior, which style was tougher. Wrestling, deathmatch, and wrestling deserved respect. It felt trivial. Before social media made trivial common, this became social media in its own right. It was the beginning of social media as far as wrestling goes. This was legendary, y'all. This was really legendary. The match everybody remembers. Cage of Death. Team RH versus Team CZW. This is legitimately climax. RH team. Samoa Joe, Adam Pearce, Ace Steel, and Groove members. CZW team Chris Hero, Claudio Castagnoli, Nero Webbs, and Nitro Butcher. Other associates with the faction. This wasn't just a wrestling match. It was weapons, blood, heart, hatred, revenge, survival. Fans still talk about it today because it felt like two wrestling philosophies colliding. Nitro Butcher versus Samoa Joe. A lot of fans consider Samoa Joe versus Nitro Butcher one of the greatest fights ever. Not technical wrestling, a fight. It looked raw and ugly and painful. This match was helped provide hardcore wrestling core, could tell emotional stories. RH wrestlers could survive violence. CZW wrestlers could earn respect. That match changed how many fans viewed deathmatch talent. Why the feud worked? Because both sides had very aggressive wrestling. RH side, we are preserving wrestling. CZW side, we survive more than anybody, and you best respect us. That emotion authentically made the feud legendary. Things you can mention and things you can mention. Wrestler Civil War, purity versus violence, realism in wrestling, indie wrestling peak. It was the indie wrestling peak and tribal fan culture before social media. This was before social media. It changed the game. It was truly great. Great talking points. Samoa Joe versus Nitro Butcher. Chris Hero promos. Claudio Castagnoli became hated. The fans throwing streamers versus chasing profanity. Bloodiest moments. How bold companies needed each other. How this influenced later RH style. AEW style. It changed AEW's complete perspective on professional wrestling. Gets very little credit for it, but it made what AEW is today. It changed the landscape of professional wrestling. This was two indie companies that changed the landscape of professional wrestling. It really did a lot. Why fans still love it? Because it represents peak indie wrestling. Authenticity hated. Emotional storytelling, wrestling fighters for identity. A lot of fans feel modern wrestling feuds feel too corporate compared to RH versus CZW. This felt underground and dangerous, personal. For many fans from that era, it was one of the last times wrestling felt unpredictable. Let me tell you what it brought to me personally. CZW fan cut a promo on Ring of Honor, and it inspired me to become a YouTube shooter. It changed my life. It brought me to YouTube. It really truly was the reason I am on YouTube today. Because CZW fan cut a promo on ROH fans on YouTube. It was heated, it was fun, and I will never, never forget what CZW fan did for me personally, even though he never really realized that he changed my life forever. I am a YouTuber and I've been a YouTuber for 20 plus years because the CZW fan cut a Ring of Honor promo on wrestling. That was the thing he did that changed my life and has had an effect on my life for the past 20 years. I am forever grateful for CZW versus Ring of Honor, and this personally is the greatest wrestling storyline that's ever been told, and it deeply affects me personally. I am Ken Jones. I'm signing off. I hope you enjoy this video.